Alright, Bad Boys Ride or Die is in theaters right now. This is a non spoiler review. If I do talk about any spoilers, it'll be at the very, very end, and I will give fair warning. But the majority of this review will be a non spoiler review. So I just got done watching all of the Bad Boys movies. Some were rewatches. I grew up loving Bad Boys 1 and 2. I was a fan of Michael Bay. I was a fan of Martin Lawrence. I was a fan of Will Smith. And I didn't get to see them in theaters, but I watched them at home and on DVD and stuff. And they were fun action movies and comedies to me. And I remember getting really into the 21 Jump Street movies and hearing about how Jonah Hill was very influenced by the Bad Boys movies and took a lot of that into the 21 Jump Street movies. And then I actually never got around to watching Bad Boys the Bad Boys for Life when it came out. I don't know, I just didn't get around to it. And then when the Will Smith thing happened, I didn't think he'd ever get with like at the Oscars. I didn't think he would get like another Bad Boys movie coming out. So I thought the timing of this was interesting and seeing how it would be received was interesting. This new one being, post Will Smith slap. And whereas the other one, the Bad Boys for Life, had come out right before that all happened. But I want to go back and just talk about some of the older ones real quick and just mention them that the first one remains kind of my favorite out of the whole franchise. The second one, it has its really fun moments, and it's definitely like a level up, and it continues to be really funny with Martin and Will. They really are both the heart of the franchise. Getting to see these two act together and riff off each other is what makes these movies. And the second one had a little too much action. Thank you, Michael Bay. But it also had two scenes that really were heavy on the N-word. And I think my problem with the franchise, even up until now, is that it's always had white writers, and that never made any sense to me, especially being so heavily leaning on the fact that these are African American leads and African American black men, and it's very like part of the story. So I feel like that representation behind the camera is important for everything, but particularly this franchise. And even though I like Michael Bay, I think he does action very well. Michael Bay has his issues. I know that the second Bad Boys movie had that controversy, which I honestly just read about upon rewatching all of them. Didn't know that Megan Fox was in that when she was 15 years old, and he had her dancing in a strip club, which in a bikini, which is really not okay. And then her going on to Jimmy Fallon, and Fallon's reaction was also not okay. So yeah, there's some messy stuff with Bad Boys 2. And then, but what I loved, or what I think is interesting, are the gaps in between each movie. How long it took to make or to get to each one, But particularly the second one I will mention had a lot of rewrites, and it was kind of sad how many rewrites it went through. Even the Apatow crew took a stab at it, Seth Rogen and those guys. Again, all white people, which is very strange to me. There were like 14 different people who took like a stab at this at Bad Boys 2, and it was a mess. But okay, the gaps, the time gaps. Bad Boy 1 came out in 1995, and the second one came out in 2003. So that was a 8-year gap, and then 17 years later, they do the third one, which is crazy to me. And they bring in the directors Adil and Bilal, who I'm familiar with from the Miss Marvel TV show on Disney Plus, the Marvel show with Kamala Khan, and they are really good at that, and I love that show. And so going back recently and watching them doing Bad Boys for the first time and kind of revisiting the franchise was really cool. And I think they did a great job at revisiting it in a faithful way and bringing a different visual style to it that I felt like was nice, and a nice balance of the Michael Bay. Hold on. Get out of here then. Go. Which was a nice balance of the over saturation of Michael Bay, which we've had in the past. And so I thought they did a nice balance of what Michael Bay did with action and comedy a little bit better. It wasn't oversaturated with the action. And I thought they did use the N-word maybe once or twice, I think, in the Bad Boys for Life movie, the third one. And which was, again, a lot less than they did in the second one, which was nice. And I don't think they're African American, the directors, definitely not the writers. But I don't know, maybe I don't know if the actors improvised those couple lines, or whoever made those decisions, but I'm not supporting, that, but it did feel definitely better kind of being in the hands of directors of color rather than in the hands of Michael Bay, who was making them say it like a lot. Even though I know there's a lot of improv. Who knows? I'm not sure exactly. But what are your guys' thoughts on that? Anyways, yeah, continuing the use of the N-word from Bad Boys 2 to 3, aka Bad Boys for Life. I didn't think was necessary. But again, if it was African American writers and African American directors, then it would feel more natural, I think, and organic. Even though it did get slightly better with the directors of color. So I was very pleased with that new revamp. The one that Adil and Bilal did, which are the returning directors for Bad Boys Ride or Die. And this is the smallest gap between a Bad Boys movie. This is 4 years, because the last one came out in 2020. So this rides right off the coattails of Bad Boys for Life. So if you haven't seen Bad Boys for Life, definitely check it out. And if you don't like that one, then you'll know kind of whether or not you'll like this one. It's definitely like a quick continuation of the last movie. Almost feels like they filmed it at the same time. And Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, they continue to be hilarious, and their chemistry is always great. And the direction, I feel like the direction wise, like the first time that the Adil and Bilal got the Bad Boys franchise, they were really focusing on being very faithful and you know, telling the story that they were telling. Whereas this one, I feel like they were able to experiment more, and they did just come off of Miss Marvel, and have come off of a Marvel TV show, and were able to kind of experiment and try new things with the Bad Boys, with cool different shots and stuff, and I enjoyed that. And I will mention, just kind of, I feel like I'm reviewing Bad Boys for Life, and I'm reviewing Bad Boys Ride or Die. They feel very they go hand in hand. But I do feel like these new directors post Michael Bay have been very good at paying homage to the old, and kind of bringing back, you know, just like the good parts, and have been surprising in some of the people that they bring back. And I won't say who, but they brought them back in Bad Boys for Life, and they clearly love the franchise, which I appreciate, and it shows. And they do want to do this franchise justice. And I think it's a nice, easy action movie. You know, like I said, if you watch Bad Boys for Life and you don't like it, then you're not gonna like this one. If you watch Bad Boys for Life and you really enjoyed it, then this is more, you know. And there are some nice surprises, and I had a lot of fun. And there's some cool moments. My favorite parts I can't really talk about because they're spoilers, but I think it'll be a fun conversation to have after the movie's over, and would love to hear what you guys think. I do want to talk about, what was it, the budget real quick. It was $100 million, and the last Bad Boys they did was $90 million. The second one was crazy. It cost $130 million, and I think worldwide made $273. So it was a little harder to make that back. But the first one cost $23 million, but that was in 1995. And yeah, this new one costs $100 million, and it did 5.8 million yesterday, Thursday. Came out Thursday with previews, which is 8% off from the previews of the franchise's previous long-awaited threequel, The Bad Boys for Life, which did 6.36 million when it came out on Thursday with previews. So that's not bad. It's looking to make about 40 million. And if it does better than 40 million, then that's good. That's considered good. So we'll see. It's Friday right now. It's got the whole weekend. Are you guys going to watch Bad Boys Ride or Die? Let me know down below. Or if you guys already saw it, what did you guys think? I don't think it's like, you know, the craziest, like, groundbreaking, you know, anything new. But if you're a fan of Bad Boys and you want to see Will Smith and Martin Lawrence back in action, then it's right here, and they do a really good job. And it's nice because they do embrace, you know, their age, and I like that, and they do a good job at still doing what we all love about Bad Boys. All right, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know what you guys thought down below.